strong in our chest. Forever we're tied to the best in the West. Oh, the voices come together, a podcast so fine, telling tales of yesterday, crossing every line, with a jazzy kind of rhythm and a spark in their quest. It's the best in the West, we must confess. We must confess. Normandy's echoes beat strong in our chest. Forever we're tied to the best in the West.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mr. Riley coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. Welcome to another episode of the NCS Best in the West podcast. Man, we were just experiencing some challenges over here in the studio this evening. Happy Cesar Chavez Day. I know I had the day off. I think our guest had to go in and work, but it's all good. Happy to be here nonetheless, and hoping that everything is going to work out well tonight without any hiccups. So let's go ahead and get into our welcoming our guest so that we can speed this thing right along. So we have a wonderful, wonderful guest, the pride of 1985, I believe, in the person of Kimberly Dixon. Now, earlier, I made the mistake and called her Brown. I have no idea where I got that from, but let me read some of her accolades, just a little bit about her background. So, Kimberly Dixon, MD, class of 1985, left NCS when her family moved closer to their Cypress home. She went to Cypress High School, class of 1992, UCLA undergrad degree in sociology, 1997, Drexel University, Michigan State. She is fluent in Spanish. Now, I need to get my Duolingo up because my English is very limited. Let's see. She was an elementary school teacher for the Los Angeles County, and then she opened her own pediatric practice in Bakersfield in January of 2021. Her NCS friends were Shani Bro, Trinica Denson, Kelly Krigler, and her best friend was Marion Pitts, rest in peace. She has a younger sister who attended NCS. Shout out to Erica Dixon. And then also Kim is an NCS supporter and has pledged to give money to help give back to NCS by donating $1,000 and by donating medical equipment and supplies to the nurse's office at the school. Man, that's a lot. But without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome Dr. Dixon.
Hello.
Hello there.
Thank you. Hello.
How are you?
I am good. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing well now that our podcast episode has started. But man, with some challenging moments a few moments ago, but we made it through. So
Right.
welcome to the show. Really appreciate you taking time to be here tonight. We are live. I think in the
Okay.
pre-show, I told you that we were not going live, but I
Uh,
think we are.
okay. All right. No problem.
So yeah, I was able to do something over here on Facebook. So we should be live in Facebook. So if you're watching live, go ahead and drop some comments, and we'll go ahead and bring them into the show as well. So Dr. Dixon, now what do you
Mhm.
prefer on this podcast? You want me to refer to you as Dr. Dixon? You want me to refer to you as Kimberly?
Kimberly's fine. That's what they knew me as,
Okay.
my name as at Normandy. So,
Okay.
yep, Kimberly Dixon.
So let's kind of walk down
Uh-huh.
memory lane at NCS. Now, how
hmm
were you enrolled? Did you know someone at NCS?
Okay.
How did your family hear about NCS?
All right. And I have a good memory, so I am glad you were asking me these questions. Because if it were my sister, sorry, sis, she would not remember. But she's younger than me, so I'm gonna give her that little excuse. But we lived in LA at the time, and we had some neighbors, the Landrys, Lachelle Landry and Harlan Landry. And they lived directly across the street. And my mom had me in preschool, and she was looking for a Christian school. And originally, she was going to put me in, it was another Christian school. And then she talked to Lachelle's mom, and she's like, no, put her here. My kids go here. Well, my daughter goes here. And it's a great school. And so that's how I came to be enrolled at Normandy.
That's a
Yeah.
wonderful story. And so I think I still know where Lachelle lives.
Oh,
Now,
really?
um, I know as an adult, I know she used to live on 102, somewhere
11th,
111th.
111th.
Okay,
Yep.
so is that the
That was
street
my
that you
neighbor.
grew up on?
Yes, I did.
Got you, got you. So one of my
111th in Vermont. Yep. That was
yes,
where
right
I
down the
spent the
street,
first 10 years of my life.
right down the
hmm
street from the U-Haul
Yes.
shop.
It's right down the street. Exactly.
So one of my best friends at the time, when we were growing up, his name was Derek Stewart, and his
Mm.
mom lived a couple of doors down from the Landrys.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
shout out to Ann Stewart. What's going on, Ann? Okay, so Lachelle kind of introduced you to NCS and or your
Mhm.
family, and then your mom or your parents decided to put you in school there.
Right, correct. That's correct.
Now, do you remember which grade you entered at NCS?
Yes, it was kindergarten.
Okay. Now,
Uh, I
who's your
want
teacher?
to say Miss Shaw Benjamin. I want
Ah,
to say that year Miss Shaw Benjamin did kindergarten and first grade.
okay.
I don't know.
She did a combo class.
I think she did because I don't
Okay.
remember another first grade teacher besides her.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It was Miss
Wow.
Shaw Benjamin.
Miss Yao
Yeah.
Benjamin. Now, I think she
At
has a
times.
different name right now. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I think she has a
Mhm.
different name. But wow.
Okay.
Okay. So then
Yeah. Yeah.
since we were talking about some of the teachers, can you remember some of the other teachers who you had while you were
Yes.
there?
I remember all my teachers. It was Miss Yaw Benjamin for kindergarten and first, Miss Payne for second, Miss Hudson. I think they came from Texas. Don't ask me how I remember that. And then I had Miss Rhodes. Hi, Miss Rhodes, for fourth grade. And then fifth grade, Miss Rowland.
Okay.
And then I left. Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember Miss Rowland, probably because I was out of there in 1980.
Okay.
So I know they had a couple of teachers in the upper grades who kind of, you know, the turnaround was kind of heavy for a while, but
hmm
I think they, finally found somebody who would stay there and kind of teach for more than a year or two. So that's cool. Okay, so then your favorite thing to do while at NCS?
Oh my gosh. NCS, so many great memories. See my friends. I love the teachers. Like I was that type of student that would stay after class and write on the board.
Mm,
I mean, I love school so much, I played school when I was not at school. So I love school. I mean, I always love to learn. I love to read. Normandy just instills so many great qualities that follow me to this day, you know, being on time, being polite, uh, working hard, you know. So I just can attribute a lot of those qualities to Normandy, you know. So, and they carry me to this day, how I conduct myself. So, what else did I like? You know, I was there, I used to go to the after school program. That was good, but I loved the summer times were great too, because my parents, both of them worked. So we would be there at the day camps. I didn't enjoy the summer school so much, but my mom made me do that. You know how that goes. You
Of
know,
course,
look, you're not gonna
every
be sitting around in the summer. I'm
exactly.
like, Mom, gosh, I worked so hard all year. My mom was that type of mom, both my parents, but my mom especially. Like, you're gonna be learning all year long. So, and that's what I did. And then we had fun in the summer camps, you know, swimming, the field trips. I remember watching Thriller a million times up there in that little.
In
It
the
was this
fellowship
little
hall,
the fellowship house, yes. Yep. So good times at Normandy. But the most
absolutely.
enjoyable moments were those friendships that I formed, those bonds. You know, the students, my classmates were like my sisters,
Mm.
you know, so yeah, and to this day we still have those memories. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
you mentioned Shani Bro, Trinika
Hmm.
Dixon, who's now Trinika Gilmore,
Uh-huh.
Kelly Krigler, and your best friend Marion Pitts. So aside from Marion, I mean, you got a squad right there. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now, do you have a favorite memory from hanging around with those people at NCS?
Yes. Let me tell you this story. Uh, we used to have slumber parties. We were like the slumber party queens. Everybody in that class had slumber parties. So we would all, whoever's birthday it was, they would have a slumber party. That was just the thing. But I remember one year my mom gave me a surprise party. It might have been when I turned 8 or 9. I can't remember. So I came home. I used to dance. You know, I came home from dance class. All my classmates were there at my house. So not only did I get to enjoy them at, you know, at school, but I'm like, wow, now we get to have like a personal party where we don't have to do like work, but we can just have fun. And I remember that year, like my mom made us hot dogs, you know, we danced the night away. I think Kelly fell asleep first. Kelly was always sleeping. Kelly was always sleeping or reading. Hi, Kelly, love you, girl. But yeah, I have the pictures from those parties to this day. And it was just the best birthday I've ever had because all of my classmates from Normandy that I wanted to be there were there.
Man, that's
So yeah,
that's an
good times.
awesome, just an amazing story, especially when you're young, because you want to have those kind of friendships, relationships, and then now, you're we are well into our 40s and 50s. It's like, look, you kind of
Mhm.
want your children to have build those kind of relationships when they're in school as well. But speaking of
Right.
hot dogs,
Uh-huh.
what was your favorite hot dog on Hot Dog Friday?
You know what? I don't remember. Probably like a chili dog, if I can remember. Anything involving chili, I loved. So if there's some chili on it, I'm great. So that was probably my favorite hot dog Friday if we had
Yeah.
chili dogs. I can't remember.
Yeah, my favorite was the hot dog with either, I think, mustard, ketchup, and relish, and that was it.
Hmm.
Because, the
Hmm.
Friday hot dog situation, that was a big deal. It's like, okay,
Yes.
folks looking over, what you got today?
Right.
What kind of hot dog you chomping on? So those were some good
Mhm.
times. What about
Yes.
uh, s- uh, some of the other activities? I know they had color days. They had chapel. Because you
Hmm.
talked about how NCS kind of made an impact on your life. How did
Hmm.
some of those activities, um, help you become a better student? Build on your foundation so that years down the line, you become this big time doctor in Bakersfield. Dr. Kimberly Dixon?
Well, I'm going to say the activities were great, but a lot of the skills that I mastered were in the classroom. And we learned respect. We learned that we would be disciplined, if we got out of line. Um, we learned, especially Miss Rhodes. I mean, I learned so much from Miss Rhodes, and I was nervous. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to fourth grade. How do I get out of this? Can I move to another country?" No, I'm glad I didn't because Miss Rhodes had me shook, okay? But I learned so much in her classroom. We were scared to death of her, but she made sure that we learned that we were respectful. She had us in line. So I credit a lot of the teachers with, you know, keeping me disciplined, keeping me focused. Like if I got out of line, not only would I get it in the classroom, I would get it at home too. So that was enough for me. All you had to do was threaten me with a beat, and I'm like, look, let me fall in line. And so I think I thank the teachers for that. I thank my parents for that discipline because it really has affected me to this day. Like, nobody's here to give me a paddle when I don't do something. So I just know, like, hey, there's consequences for the actions, for the things that you don't do, you know? So I credit Normandy with instilling those values within me, the integrity, the hard work, um, and the tenacity, to just push through. So it started in the classroom for me.
Got you, got you. Now, who would you say had the largest impact on you, and maybe thinking about your career? Um,
Mhm.
it says on your itinerary, not itinerary, but on your bio that you were a teacher.
Yes.
Um,
I
so
told you I love school.
so talk about.
I
I
love
mean,
school. Uh-huh.
I
Mhm.
don't want to jump over the high school years and the time you spent
Yeah.
at UCLA, but you became a teacher. Now, what was that experience like for you as being a teacher, and then kind of juxtaposed
That's good.
to going to Normandy and growing
Mhm.
up under those teachers? How did that the foundation at Normandy help you become an awesome teacher?
You know what? Becoming a teacher helped me understand how many roles teachers assume. Not only are they the teacher, they're like the social worker, they're the nurse, they're the counselor. I mean, so many roles. I think teachers in our society are undervalued, underpaid, because that was, I'm going to say that was harder than what I do now. Medical school was difficult, but I felt so much responsibility. Like what I taught these students in the classroom was going to follow them, and what I didn't teach them. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a foundation that you were building. I taught third grade and I had 30 students. So difficult. Oh my gosh. I was in bed by 8 o'clock every night, and I was sick every other month because they brought me all the germs. But it was definitely rewarding. But I felt like so much responsibility. Like a good teacher cares. And that's what made me think about our teachers at Normandy. They really cared. When you were in trouble, it's because they cared. Like, hey, you're not getting this. What's the problem? You know? So I think I carried that into the classroom with me as well as a teacher. Like, hey, and it's hard because you have students at all different levels. You have the ones that are high achievers, ones right in the middle, and the ones that struggle. So it was like, gosh, this is so challenging because I want all of them to learn. I want all of them to be able to build that foundation that will lead them to success. But it was challenging because you had them at all different levels. So my hat goes off to all my teachers in my life, especially those at Normandy. Um, because I don't remember like that stratification in the classroom. Perhaps it was there, but I felt like we were all very intelligent at the same level. But you know, I don't remember like students struggling with certain subjects, but when I was a teacher, I'm like, wow, this is so hard. And I don't want any child to be left behind. But unfortunately, some just could not get it. So I wanted, because I was so I felt so this huge responsibility, and a good teacher does. You don't go into education, the field of education, and not care that the students are not learning the way they should. So I felt like my teachers at Normandy really cared. Yeah.
Man,
So
man, shout out to all the teachers at NCS and those out there in the field. Now,
yes.
what I didn't tell you, Dr. Dixon
Uh-huh.
or Kimberly,
Hmm.
is that I'm actually a teacher. And so I appreciate those
Hmm.
comments because sometimes you get folks, especially those folks who do not know what teachers go through. And when you describe teachers being the social worker, the nurse, the mediator, the PE teacher, I mean, art, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're a teacher, but you take on so many different roles. Sometimes you're the parent, sometimes you're the
Hmm.
auntie. I mean,
Yes.
you cover it all. And so
Yes, you
I
do.
appreciate
Hmm.
you for just realizing and, letting our audience know that, being a teacher is not an easy thing because you had 30 personalities. And so you had to cater to each of those personalities in your classroom.
And can I just add that I did it for 1 year in transition between I have a master's in public health and medical school. But even that experience helps me now in the examining room, with my patients. Because I still have patients that come in with learning disabilities. Mom wants to know what medicine she can give Johnny to help him learn. And I'm like, it's not a medication. He might need an IEP. Like, I know what to do because I have that experience. And so I just want to say to anybody, you may not be like where you want to be, but every experience um, matters. Like me, I started out working in the cafeteria at UCLA with the hairnet and all, right? But I mean, those skills, it made me be on time. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's skills that you master that will help you in the profession that you end up being in. So, being in the classroom, I understand the parents when they tell me what's going on with the ADHD or the autism or needing the IEP, the learning disability, and the parents are frustrated. So, yeah, my hat goes off to all teachers, every last one.
Man, I appreciate that. And it's good to hear, just a different perspective from the other side because sometimes,
Hmm.
you know, in my practice, I run into parents who, they don't have all the answers. They're seeking answers to some of the questions that they have. And I'm like, hey, here's what you might want to consider. Sometimes parents take advantage of the advice, and unfortunately, some don't. And then, we
Hmm.
continue to have kids who are, you know, exhibiting X, Y, and Z in terms of behaviors, or they might have a developmental delay, or, you talked about the autism. I
Hmm.
see it. And so I
Hmm.
appreciate your comments and, what you've done for that 1 year, because I'm sure it's shaped, you know, uh, to your point, how you move around in your own practice. So I appreciate those kind words about teachers. So teachers, it's a hard work. Well, we got to get it done.
Yes.
Got to get it
Yes,
done.
it is.
Okay, so you kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but it's all good. So, when did you figure out that you wanted to become a doctor, and not just any doctor, a pediatric doctor?
Okay. Well, for me, naturally, working with children, um, I was like, this is the perfect union of my love for children and health. So, I always was interested in the human body and how it worked, and I remember being at UCLA. I was actually going to be a lawyer. Well, before that, a newscaster. I was going to go to USC and I was going to be a newscaster. But I changed my mind and I said, you know what, maybe I'll be an attorney. But political science, those classes bored me to tears. But I was at UCLA and I got involved with public health. We would do like, we had the Black Latino Health AIDS Project, where we would go to talk to high school students about safer sex. We would do the Black Hypertension Project, actually at the Slauson Swap Meet, taking screening, uh, just the community for hypertension, educating them. I loved everything about public health. So after UCLA, I went and I got my master's. But let me backtrack. I remember being at UCLA, and I remember this guy asking me, what are you studying? I said, I thought I was going to do political science, but now I think I want to be a nurse. He was like, why don't you be a doctor? Why be a nurse? There's nothing wrong with nurses. I have tons of nurses in my family. And I said, can I do that? I have never seen a doctor that looks like me. And so that just got the wheels turning. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so that's what led me into the field of medicine. And then my love for children and working with children led me into pediatrics.
Wow, that's pretty dope. And I was kind of floored when you mentioned the Slauson swap meet. You know you're from the
Yes.
hood if you can identify and say
Yeah.
something nice about the
Hmm.
Slauson swap
Right.
meet. It's such a
That's right.
it's a place where we all went to get stuff, whether it
Hmm.
was real or fake. We got stuff. You had to go.
Hmm.
That was like your
Yep.
passageway through LA.
Right.
At least
Correct.
one or two times
One or
you
two
had to go
times. That's all.
to
Yeah.
Swabee. Man, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So you figured out because someone's like, hey, or you were like, hey, there are not too many people that look like me. And I'm sure that kind of gave you a platform. They're like, you know what? I can do this thing. I can do this thing.
Yes.
There's plenty of nurses, but I want to do something a little bit different. So,
Hmm.
shout out to you
Hmm.
for doing that and making that up in your mind to become a pediatric doctor. That's such an awesome. And
Hey.
I used to work in the hospital,
Hmm.
and I, from time to time, I would see the children come in. Now, I was the guy who would
Hmm.
register the folks. So I'm, sitting back in the emergency room, registering the gunshot wound victims, the pregnant moms,
Right.
I mean, you name it, folks who came in, they have to go to the trauma area, I'm over there.
Hmm.
Hey, sir, I
Hmm.
know you got a nail in your head, but do you have insurance? So I saw it, and then
Exactly.
from time to
Right.
time, I would see the parents bring their kids, and just
Hmm.
sometimes there was a good story, and then sometimes it was not such a good of a story.
Right.
So hats off.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, what was one story or one situation that kind of really helped you figure out? Okay, I want to get this doctorate in medicine, and I really want to work with not only children, but you have a degree in Spanish, right? You're fluent. So, kind of talk
Well,
about that
I'm
and
gonna.
how you mixed or joined the two, working with
Okay.
kids and then being very fluent in Spanish.
Well, I'm not fluent, but I do. They tell me my Spanish is good. Um, so at the office,
Wait,
because where I work here,
I'm sure it's better than mine, so it's all good.
it's pretty well, coming from the patients that are fluent in Spanish, they're like, "Oh, your Spanish is good." But in undergrad, I've always been good with the Spanish language. In high school, I was like the teacher's pet. I don't know, Mrs. Keel. She's like, wow, A's, A's. I was acing it. I don't, and I'm not bragging because I don't ace everything, but Spanish, we got along real good, right? So anyway, um, I said, you know what? When I go to UCLA, I'm going to take like Spanish immersion courses, right? And I remember there was a class, and the teacher did not speak any English. The whole how long were the class? I think they were like an hour. So anyway, the whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, he is not going to speak English to us. So that forced me to listen in Spanish and to learn in Spanish. And then in medical school, I went to Cuba for a week. Um, and then just working here in Bakersfield, you know, I was able to build on the foundation that I had already established from college, from high school, and just hearing it every day, every day. Because, like, 70% of my population is Spanish speaking. Whether the interpreter's saying something, I'm catching on to words. So I've been practicing for 14 years. And so if you hear something every day, you're gonna you eventually master it. So yeah.
Yeah, I picked up some words when I worked for, in in healthcare.
Mhm.
I can help you fill out a registration form right now. It's like "Cuál
Right.
es tu fecha de nacimiento," right?
Your birthday.
And
Yep,
yeah,
that's right.
so
Look at
"Cuál es?"
you.
Let me
You
see.
sound good.
I got a little something.
That's really good. I understood you.
Yeah, but you being immersed in those courses and
Mhm.
then being immersed in that community where you have Spanish speakers, of course,
Yes.
and then by your own, what you said, you're a sponge. You sought after, and so that's a way of extending yourself because it's like, look, I can help my community this way. Not only can I speak regular English, but for my non-English speakers, let me help them
Mhm.
as well. But let me ask you,
Right.
so
Uh-huh.
how did you get? I mean, you moved around a little bit. You went
Mhm.
to UCLA. You went to
Mhm.
Drexel. No, where is Drexel located?
In Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay. You went to Michigan State, and
Yes. And
then
the
you're
residency
in.
was in Vegas.
Okay.
Now I'm in Bakersfield.
Yeah. So how did? I mean, you kind of hung out
Was
over
all
here on the
over.
West
I loved it.
Coast. You
Uh-huh.
just went all over the place.
Yes. And now I'm back, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how
Not
did you
back.
get from LA to
Mhm.
Michigan State to Philadelphia all the way to Bakersfield?
So UCLA, after UCLA, I taught for a year. And then I needed to strengthen my application to medical school. And I've always been interested in public health. So I went to Philadelphia for a master's in public health. That's what took me there. And so my focus there was community medicine. So I worked at a homeless shelter with women and children, and that was my thesis project, like enhancing services that they offered at the shelter for those women and their children. Um, I then did what's called a post-bac program. I'm like a non-traditional student, and that is I had to get my science grades together. I'm just gonna be honest, I had to focus. So I did a post-bac program at Cal State Fullerton, and I got a 4.0 in that because I wasn't ready. And I just did like a little TikTok on that. And somebody was like, "Don't talk about your failures." But I think a lot of people that have succeeded have failed at something. So, and I'm here to share my story because it was not linear for me, but I'm still here. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And I'm flourishing. So I did the post back, and then I applied to medical school, and it's hard to get in California, which was fine. I was willing to go anywhere, and Michigan State accepted me, and so that's how I ended up in Michigan. And there were a lot of California residents that I bonded with. I met some people from Michigan. It was a great school, just a great time. And then I did my residency in Vegas, and then now Bakersfield. So for medical school, I got a scholarship, and it's called the National Health Scholar, and it's for students that want to work in the primary care field once they're done with all of their training. But you owe time, so they give you money for medical school. They give you a stipend every month. It was awesome. I had to interview for it. And I got it. And so I'm like, you know what? I owe them time. It's kind of like being in the military. Now, there were sites in LA, but this was the first job that I got. And you had to go to like a recruitment fair, and they offered me the job. And I've been here, and I love it. Yeah, I've been here 14 years at the same job. So it's been great.
So not only see in your resume here, it didn't say that you went to Fullerton and then Vegas, and man, you're really a globe trotter,
I do. I love to
which
travel.
which is good because you know if you go into different areas, you get a chance to
Mhm.
see how people live, and you get to
Yes.
interact in those communities. You
Yes.
just don't have one way of thinking because you've been
Correct.
around. Like
Mhm.
around the way girl, right? But in a good
Yeah.
way because you're
Mhm.
trying to affect the medical community.
Right.
So You're trying
It
to pick
does.
up everything from over here, over there, and then bring everything all together. So I'm sure that strengthened your knowledge, that strengthened how you
Yes,
relate to people.
that's
And,
true.
now you're over here in Bakersfield. And how long have you been in Bakersfield?
14 years.
Wow.
Yep, in January
Okay.
31st. I only meant to say 4. I said, let me get in and get out. I'm in and out. I don't know nothing about this place. No.
Okay.
And you know what? Somebody told me when I interviewed, they're like, it's gonna suck you in. I'm like, Psh, not me. I got things to do. I am a city girl. I'm not a city girl anymore.
Bakersfield is not the city place.
No.
Yeah.
But it's growing.
Right.
It's kind of like the best kept secret, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some spots here that you would not even you wouldn't believe that you were still in California.
Wow.
But yeah,
Okay.
it's grown on me. And you know what? I really like the job. I like the opportunities that I've been afforded here. I like that I got my student loans forgiven. Um, but I really like my job. I really, really love the patients, you know? So, and to be able to give back to underserved, needy communities. That's really brought me joy.
Now, I was sent a video, and maybe you can set it up for us, and then we'll play it.
Yeah. Okay.
So go ahead and talk about the video, and then afterwards we'll play it.
Okay. So outside of my day job, my 8 to 5,
You just
I
busy.
launched my own. No. I launched my own clinic in June of 2020, right when COVID hit. So I bought a building in 2019. And let me tell you how that happened. I reached out to a friend of mine. She was doing real estate. And I said, I think I want to do something extra on the side during the summers, give back to school physicals. Can you find me like a little spot to lease? I'm gonna set up my own thing. She's like, calls me. I remember I was coming back from the Essence Festival. Dr. Dixon, I found a building. I said, you did not follow the assignment. Nobody told you to find a building. She's like, please come look at it. It's perfect for you. Perfect. So the owner was selling it. He had been in practice for like over 20 something years, and I fell in love with it. It was already in escrow with the dentist. There was like a dentist office behind it. I said, okay, Lord, if it's meant for me, it will be mine. Um, and lo and behold, they decided they didn't want it anymore, and I got it. It was meant for me. I said, God, okay, you didn't give this to me for me not to do anything with it. And so I launched the practice, the video. Current Family is our local Medicaid plan here. And they like what I'm doing because I offer services after hours and Saturdays. A lot of working parents, it's hard for them to take off for a doctor's appointment. So we offer after hours care so that they don't end up at urgent care. A lot of parents hate urgent care. They hate the ER and they shouldn't really be in the ER. So my clinic allows access, eliminates that access barrier. And so we got an award, Health Equity Award from Current Family, the Medicaid program. And they came and did a video, and we had a big awards dinner. And so that's after 4 years of being open that we got that award. So I'm really happy
No, that's pretty
and
awesome.
grateful.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's pretty
Thank you.
awesome. I mean, the building was already in escrow.
Hmm.
Something happened. It fell out, and you were like, "Hey, what do we have here?" So no, that's
Hmm.
what's up. That's super nice, super nice. So congrats to you.
Thank you.
And so what we'll do right now is we'll
Mm.
share the video, and then we'll come back,
Okay.
wrap up a couple of things, and then you said,
Okay.
I thought I heard something about TikTok. So we'll talk about that afterwards. But let's go
Okay.
ahead and show the video.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
In the heart of Bakersfield, one provider stands out for their extraordinary commitment to advancing health equity. Dr. Dixon of the Children's Clinic is a trailblazer, dedicating her career to reducing health care disparities and ensuring that every child receives the care they deserve. As a leader in the Equity and Practice Transformation Program, Dr. Dixon works tirelessly to break down barriers to healthcare. She recognizes the challenges her patients face and proactively addresses them by offering non-traditional hours, including evenings and weekends, so families can access care when they need it most. Her work is not just about medical care, it's about compassion and understanding. Dr. Dixon meets her patients where they are, offering hope, health, and support to the Bakersfield community.
Thank you for all your support along this journey always. Appreciate it. Thank you for being the best doctor ever.
For her unwavering dedication, leadership, and impact in promoting health equity, Dr. Dixon is the well-deserving recipient of the Outstanding Health Equity Champion Award.
Yay. There we go. Let's go ahead and, oh, I know why. There
Thank you. Thank you.
we go. Man, congratulations. I'm sure a lot of hard
Thank you.
work went into that. You said 4 years you were putting in the work, helping that community. So congratulations. COVID, it, man, it did a number on folks, but
Yes.
because you were in place and you were ready, and I'm sure the folks enjoy your presence, and so continued, blessings to you and yours in all of
Thank
your
you.
endeavors. Now, a few moments ago, you did say something that you posted on TikTok. Now, do you
Mhm.
have a big social media presence, or is it small?
I don't know what big really is, but I don't, no, I don't think I'm that big. I'm not like hundreds of thousands, you know? I'm in the hundreds and it's fine.
Okay, so what kind of content do you post? Is it personal stuff, or is it things related to healthcare?
Well, I have two pages because I also love fashion and dresses and all that. So I have one that's with the fashion lifestyle because I love to travel. And then the other one is my I am Dr. Kimberly, which I need to start posting more content. I just got busy this year, but just informative reels or messages for parents. I did one, it was National Doctors Day. And I'm just sharing my story because I know there's somebody in my position that maybe wants to do this, wants to be a doctor and feels like they can, or they're having some challenges. I want to just make sure that they understand that, you're going to struggle, but don't give up. And like I said in my latest reel, success equals preparedness plus opportunity. So when you're prepared and then the opportunity strikes, and God says it's your time, you're gonna get it. You're gonna shine. So I like to inspire others because I know I had a lot of doubts along the way and a lot of doubters. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to inspire others that, not to give up whatever challenges they may face.
Now, what I'm actually over here doing is trying to pull it up on the TikToky over here. Okay, so what, what were you said I am Dr. Dixon?
I am Dr. Kimberly.
I am. Let me see what you're doing over here.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Okay, all right. Look at you. Okay, you got a couple of hundred. Got a couple of hundred followers. All right. Okay, it's legit. It's legit,
Yes,
y'all. It's
it's
legit.
legit.
Yes, absolutely. It's legit. Okay. All right. We'll have to make sure we subscribe and get all this good content. And, I'm
Thank
sure you're
you.
talking about health care and children and parents. And hopefully, I'm sure you're passing along some good tips as
Hmm.
well.
Yes.
Okay. So you mentioned traveling.
Hmm.
Favorite place that you visited?
Ooh. Two. Can I give you two? I'm gonna
Absolutely.
say South Africa. I love history, and I love seeing the things that I've read about like in person. Oh my gosh, I just get like excited. And then Greece, just for the views, the views, Santorini, and yeah, Santorini was everything. But For history, learning about Mandela, apartheid, oh my gosh, that was the most emotional trip. And then we did a
Mm.
safari, we went to a village and saw, it was everything. That trip was everything. Cape Town, Johannesburg, awesome.
Now that
Yeah.
trip, was it
hmm
business and pleasure or
It was pleasure. I found a travel group and it was called Black Girl Travel, but now she's Globalista. Somebody stole her name. She didn't trademark it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is
mm,
terrible. She's like the pioneer of getting Black women together from the US and taking them everywhere. Felice is her name. But yeah, that trip was, I'll never forget it. You know, I think
gotcha.
everybody should experience it at least once.
Yeah,
hmm
I have a niece over there right now. She's in, I think she's in Johannesburg. She's an
hmm
entrepreneur, and
hmm
she picked up, moved her. Um, I know. I think she moved her family over there, and she's
hmm
doing big things as it relates to content. I know she started a nursing school over there, and she's doing some other
Wow.
stuff. So, um, yeah, that's one of the places I'm gonna have to. It's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket
Okay.
list.
Yes.
Um, let's see. Where you sat. So let me go back, and I know
Mhm.
uh, pre-show you were talking about some of your favorite things to do. Sports is not one of them.
No. The
So
And you would people I was always they tried to recruit me for sports and I should have done volleyball, but I'd be throwing the ball to the wrong team. It's just not me. I'm a dancer. I used to dance, tap, ballet, jazz. Yeah, that's me.
okay,
Sing. I can't sing, but yeah.
okay. So no, I was because it's March Madness. You know what
Uh-huh.
March Madness is, right?
Yes, I do. Basketball.
Okay,
The
okay. So
college
then,
basketball.
college
hmm
basketball, yes. So then I'll
Okay.
say congratulations to your women because they made
Go
it to
Bruins.
the Final Four, which is the
Yes.
first time that that has been done for the U.S. I'm sorry, UCLA women's team. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And then on your resume it says you went to Michigan State. I was going to ask you, were you upset because they were recently defeated by Auburn, but you're not into basketball that much?
No, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Some people, you know, they're just like they're like, I'm just gonna go here, get my studies out the way. I'm not gonna do too much partying. I'm gonna do more learning, and I'm not gonna be as social. So I get it. I get it. You had your head in the books. You had
Right.
tunnel vision. You wanted
Yes.
to take all of your NCS foundational skills and apply that to your college situation
Correct.
to the point where you became this super awesome, super dope Dr. Kimberly Dixon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, any last words? We really appreciate you hopping on. I know we were having some technical difficulties in the beginning, but I think
Mhm.
we kind of worked it out. And so, I always love to give my guests the final word, the final say so. So,
Mhm.
go ahead, Dr. Dixon. What you got for
Mm,
us?
yeah, I think just for anyone out there who's listening, especially us from NCS, the teachers really did a great job instilling certain values and skills and just setting that foundation for success. I cannot thank all of my teachers at NCS, my parents, thank God. I love the way, if I had to do it over, I would be raised exactly the same way. I would attend the same schools, same teachers, because they all were pivotal in my success. And then the last thing, like I always say, um, even if you have challenges, because I had tons of challenges, I had tons of self-doubt along the way, and you just surround yourself with people that believe in you, but you have to also believe that you can do it. You have to kind of, like you said, tunnel vision, shut the naysayers out, say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I don't care what so and so's doing. And the last thing too, your race may not look like your friends, and you can't run your race looking to the side. You got to run your own race, stay in your own lane. So you can do anything. I really believe that. it's the audacity to believe that you can do anything, you know. You got to be maybe a little delulu. I think I can do anything. I'm still not that. So anyway, yeah, so those are just my parting words to anyone listening.
Absolutely. No, we appreciate you, man. Darren spoke high of you. He's like, look, I know who you should have on there. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, dude, I trust you. Well, actually,
Yeah.
he's trusted me to get this done. So, he's
Okay.
the visionary. I'm
Hmm.
I'm I'm the yes man. I'm like, yeah, dude, come on,
I
just
appreciate it.
just send me the time and the
Uh,
people, the email or a cell number, and we'll get it done. But no, we appreciate you hopping on
Thank you
tonight,
so much.
and it sounds like, you know, you have it going on over there in Bakersfield. You're happy, and
I
you're
am.
definitely making a huge impact over there in what we call your neck of the woods, since we said that
Yes.
Bakersfield is kind of country, but it's not.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
um, congratulations with
Thank
everything
you.
that you've done. So do me a
Thank
favor.
you.
I'm going to close
Uh,
up the show, just kind of hang
okay.
out in the green room, and then I'll come
Okay.
back at the end, okay?
Okay. Perfect.
All right, guys. So there we go. Dr. Dixon just hanging out, just taking a little walk down memory lane with NCS, and then, of course, all of the collegiate stops she's made along the way. Just super, super nice for her to take time, make some time, and kind of share her story and let us know how NCS impacted her, not only as she grew up as a young lady, but even now, just making a difference in her community as being a pediatric doctor in Bakersfield. So we appreciate her hopping on and being a part of this NCS Best in the West podcast. Other than that, guys, we appreciate you watching, and be sure to check us out. Next month, we'll have a wonderful guest. I have to wait till El Presidente lets me know who we're going to have on our show. But just stay tuned. But do us a favor, if you can, like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. And other than that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the show with our social media. Okay, sorry about that. Those are just some of our social media places where you can find us. But I'm Mr. Riley, coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side. Thanks for watching, and I look for you in the next video that will come out sometime next month. Have a good week, everyone. Peace out.